Hey everyone, welcome to the show. You're live on Professor Bats and Friends. Thank you for being here. Hey everyone, and on this fine Taco Tuesday, the first time we hit 70 degrees in 2022, you can almost hear the mosquitoes waking up. It's coming. Get out your thermocells because you're going to need them pretty soon. I tell you what, winter is just about over and summer is coming, and we are getting ready. Tony, how's everything in Northwest Arkansas?
It's good, brother. We had a nice weather today. I guess it's going to be even a little warmer tomorrow, close to 80. I think.
Oh, see, when you're getting up in 80, that just makes me worry. I don't even like the sound of that.
It's going to snow 7 or 8 times again before.
So. Oh well, I don't really care if it snows, but I like the 50 degree, 60 degree days and the 40 degree nights. That makes nice days and good sleeping weather.
Sleeping weather, that's right.
It's just perfect. Well, we have with us a very special guest with us tonight, Jason from Mountain State Overland. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoy watching the progression of these podcasts and the technology that's going into it and how you're incorporating the video in the beginning, especially when we're going live. But, I almost felt kind of compelled to pull out my lightsaber and start striking through my screens. It was just
you never know. You never know when Boba Fett's going to fly through, and we'll have to take off after him. So we try to keep it interesting and keep people on their toes. You never know what might happen. So
yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're glad that you're here all the way from West Virginia. I know we got some West Virginia people going to be watching tonight, so pretty excited about that. Arla's on there. Kara, thank you for being on here. Kara's got a show in a couple hours, so I know she's probably out there getting ready for that. Kara, thank you for being on here. We've got a giveaway that we have been doing for the last, it was going to be 2 weeks. We extended it for 3 weeks. One of our show sponsors, Lifesaver water filters. I don't know, Jason, I don't know if you've ever experienced one of these, but these things are cool. They have they're built like a tank, and they have a filter in there along with it's like 2 different filters in there, and they could filter out like 8,000 gallons, I believe is what it was, before you have to change those. I don't even know if I'll drink that much water the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So pretty sure that filter's good. And it's about 18 inches long, which tells me it's also compressible and different things like that. So what we have done is we have talked them into giving one of these away, and we've been doing this on our Instagram for about the past 3 weeks. And I have figured out how to share my screen and do this giveaway. So we're going to do this right here and get it out of the way. So
all right.
Yeah, check this out. Boom. Oh, wait a minute.
There's email.
I'm on the wrong one. Here we go.
There we go.
So we got all these people. I was checking my email. So anyway, we got all these people right here that Tony took about 17 hours to type all these names out. All these people that entered our drawing. And so I'm going to pick 2. And this is the way this is going to go. And Tony, I want you to write these down after I pick one. The first one that I pick is going to be the backup in case the the winner does not meet all the qualifications. So all I've got to do is I've got to hit this right here, this pick a random item, and it's going to go through all these. So we make sure that we are not cheating, because we're not cheaters. And we go down here and it says the winner is Contingency Overland. Okay, you're the backup. If you think you won, sorry, you didn't win.
Contingency would be
that's right. Contingent.
very
You
appropriate.
win. Contingent on the other person not winning. So here we go. We're going to pick the winner now. We're going to pick the winner now. We've got how many did you say you typed in, Tony?
There was, I think, 600 and like 645 or somewhere in there.
Man, that's a good number.
That's impressive.
That.
Yeah,
that was really good. So we're gonna. Here goes the winner. Here goes the winner. I'm nervous. I'm sweating. I tell you, it's something. So the winner is. Oh my gosh!
No way!
No way! Our good friends at Blue Line Overland are the winner, and really excited about that. If you don't know Blue Line Overland, they actually are going to take this and raffle it off and take the money to provide gifts to needy children. That's what Blue Line Overland does. They help provide gifts for needy children. So that is a great giveaway. I am so excited about that.
So excited.
Well, let's sweeten the deal on that a little bit here and throw in a coupon code to Mountain State Overland's website store for both of them. So when we're done with this, send me a contact, send me those usernames again. I'll put in a one-time coupon code for each of them.
Wow!
Excellent.
Heck yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you. We appreciate that. That's so cool. Well, Mason's going to be excited about that. Mason is a full-time police officer, and he's got this group of police officers that go through and they raise money. They call people, they get donations, and they do like online auctions where people bid on he sells like so many spots, and you pay like $10 for a chance to win, and then he takes that money, pays for the donation if it costs him anything, and the money that they take that's left over, they actually use that to donate money to help raise money for needy children in police departments all across the United States, and they do a great job, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That. So very cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, Jason, you and I have never met in person, but these days since 2020, we do everything virtual. So we're meeting virtual. So I want you to introduce yourself for those out there who have never met you, who may not know who, if they've been living in a hole and don't know who Mountain State Overland is. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and how all this started.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm Jason Specht with Mountain State Overland. Mountain State Overland.com to kind of follow up on everything we're talking about here today. Back in 2013, some friends and I went camping off the Greenbrier River up near Durban, West Virginia, and all we had was tarps and tents and fishing rods and a deep fryer. It was kind of Thanksgiving weekend or leading up to Thanksgiving weekend, and Mountaineers were playing football, so we planned to spend a couple of days out in the woods, and we're sitting around, talking about stuff, and they kind of introduced the word overlanding to me at that point back in 2013, and I was like, well, we've kind of done that all of our lives in high school, right? Taking the Bronco out in the woods and going camping. That's just kind of what we did. We didn't really have a lot of opportunity where I grew up to do much other than that, except cruise around the mall on a Friday night and chasing girls. But so we went out and we'd go out and camping and stuff like that. And they told me about it, and I said, well, wow, and they said, well, yeah, there's somebody out there on the internet filming themselves doing this and putting it on YouTube. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I said, well, I've got a camera. My wife worked at that time, worked for a TV station, and we had a camera, and we were filming her, traveling to different areas in Southwest Virginia and kind of capturing that experience and sharing that on TV. So I said, well, let's grab this camera and let's put a mission together and decide who we want to be. And what we want to do. And it kind of took off from there. Kind of the original vision for our YouTube channel was to, share sustainable, responsible lifestyles and tell stories while we kind of travel from place to place via off-road. And so we were, well, not off-road, but just on subsurface public roads. So, we were, traveling around telling these real fun stories, and I started investing in my camera equipment, and we started getting into the gear part of it, right, which is never a good thing. It's just kind of a one-way road that there's never an end to.
Never ends.
My other buddy at the time, Jeremy, and Jamie were part of the team. We're very close friends now. They're not in the show anymore, but we spend just about every weekend together here in Lewisburg, West Virginia. And Jeremy bought a 4Runner. Jamie rode along with us. We all shared the responsibility of filming, and we built some trucks and built some really good relationships with some companies. And like I said, every year my goal was to invest in my camera equipment and to learn as much as I could, so that I could invest in the production quality of the content that we were creating. And Instagram was just kind of becoming a thing then, and it was really fun because you could collaborate with people and see almost immediate results. And so it was just kind of an opportunity to build relationships with a lot of really cool people, mostly up and down the East Coast, because that was as far as we could get, in a week away from work, because we all work full-time jobs. So just kind of progressed. We started, getting, kind of a reputation behind us, and started building some really solid relationships with some big players in the overland and off-road industry. Started building some more trucks, cycled through, different team members as they were faced with different decisions in life and directions they had to go. We've had a lot of really awesome people be part of the team, and I've been kind of the driver and the vision for, Mountain State Overland. Now today we've filmed, I think, somewhere close to 100,000 miles in our travels.
Holy cow.
From we've been as far south as the tip of Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, a little bit of Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, and into New Brunswick. Our goal was to travel the entire length of the Appalachian Mountains, which was our vision. When we got to New Brunswick, Canada, we're like, what's next? What do we do? Because I sure wasn't ready to stop this machine. And so, we'd always wanted to work our way west. People that were watching the show wanted us to come out there, and we really wanted to come too. I'm in a capacity where we actually had our trucks and we're living on the road. And so we said, okay, well, let's tackle the Trans-American Trail. And it's here for the last 2 years now. We've been, putting down as many miles as we can in, the time that we have available from our work, to go out and film what we can, pretty consistently, instead of just only showcasing really the best parts, give people a real good idea of what to expect on the Trans-American Trail. And, we started in Southern Virginia, went through North Carolina into Tennessee first year. Then this past August, we went from Tennessee there into your guys' backyard, right? And we ended up right at the Oklahoma border. And that's kind of the plan, is to kind of knock some of that out this year from Oklahoma on, as we go to the Mountain West Overland Expo in August, and then play around in Colorado a little bit. But we're not in any hurry to travel the whole Trans-American Trail, because we're going to be around for a while, and we want to make it fun, and it's something reachable, and it's something for our entire team to look forward to doing every year. And so there's no need to rush it. If we find a spot where we want to get off the trail and explore a little bit, then we'll get back on the trail and hit it when we're done. So and that's what we did here through the series that we're releasing right now. I joined up with Aaron there at Artemis Overland, and had a really good time with him, and explored some of the Ozarks there. And yeah, just fantastic. So that's kind of where we're at. And now we're, YouTube offered an opportunity for us to release guided trips. People were wanting to join us on these grand adventures. And, for the longest time, we were like, there's no way we can do that. We just can't do it. And then I was really close friends, still am very close friends with Matt Aikenhead there at Blue Ridge Overland Gear. And we spent a lot of time talking about it and kind of come up with a model where we could actually take people, on tours and function as a tour operator and take people on adventures here in West Virginia. And there's a lot of things to consider, insurance to where you can and can't go, and national forest commissions and things like that. But we worked out that model, and now we've been doing that for, I think this is the 5th year. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the 4th year or not. But we've had so many great people on our trips, and it's just been so much fun that we actually built a 4Runner to rent out to people so that they could fly in from anywhere in the country or the world and join us on some of these adventures. So yeah, it's just been a machine that's just been kind of running.
Whirlwind.
Whirlwind.
Just a
opportunity.
whirlwind.
Got a 7-year-old little boy and a lovely wife, and we just have a lot of fun and spend a lot of time on our own. My son Catcher will probably be on some adventures as we tackle the rest of this Trans-American Trail, over the next, who knows how long it's going to be, 5 more years or more. So, it's just a lot of fun.
Well, it's been cool watching how things have progressed over the years with you. I get on your website all the time, especially when you announce that you have some of your guided trips that are releasing or something like that, and it seems like by the time I even get on there, they're already sold out. I mean, it's just crazy. And I think you're in a great area for that, because most of the people that do that are out west, but you're in an area where there's really not a lot of that available, and so people are drawn to that, and you offer them something that they really can't get anywhere else in that area. And so and plus you do a lot of specialized things with your trips as well. You do I think it was last year I noticed, I don't know if you did it this year, but you did one specifically for kids.
Yeah, we did. Obviously, I mean, if you've seen a picture of my truck, with this last truck that we built, we wrapped it, obviously to protect the vehicle because we ended up in so many brush thickets. But so we can maybe sell it one day and it'll look brand new. But long story short, I commissioned Lisa, made by Lisa Marie as her Instagram handle. And I commissioned her because I really liked her artwork and I wanted to make it kind of fun, and I wanted it to relate to kids, and I wanted it to be a little bit of kind of like a mullet, business in the front, party in the back, but more fun in the back and business in the front. So we commissioned her to do some doodles for us. She's done some work for Patagonia Magazine or Patagonia Clothing and Apparel, and sent her 3 of my favorite videos and said, pick some visions of West Virginia that you really like and doodle us something up. And that's how we came to that design for the truck. And again, kids in mind, we kind of prototyped a trip where it was kids only. Like, you can come, but you have to have kids. For this one trip, you have to have kids that you can bring. You can rent some kids if you want to and bring them with you, but you have to have kids. And it was just a lot of fun. We put a lot of energy into the program for them. The kids kind of rallied the first night and had a lot of fun. We camped on a river on some private property. The next morning they woke up. I gave each kid, or each car that had kids in it, I gave them 3 top secret packets, and that they had to open at certain points in time when we were on the road. And I'd call and tell them to open it. And then I'd had one of my guides, with us kind of read through what they have to do. One was, stopping at our next stop to, find 3 trees or 3 leaves that they needed to identify. One of them was, one of the challenges was pick up as much trash as you can. And the third was kind of a moving challenge where you're in the vehicle with your parents and you have a conversation with your parents to talk about what you think is the most important thing to go on a camping trip. And so kind of brought all the kids together, and then for every challenge that they completed, we gave them a prize, and I think the final prize is we let them rip off some patches off the AluCab canopy camper on the back of Tacoma here for Mountain State Overland, and they had a real blast doing that. So it was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Awesome.
That's so cool. I love how you do that. I love how your description of your vehicle, the business in the front and the party in the back. But
That's right.
With the things you've got on there, it's definitely a party in the back. And I want to talk about your rig, because you have one of my dream pieces of equipment from AluCab on your vehicle, and I want to talk about that because some of the videos that I've watched, I just sit there and I rewind them and I watch it again. I rewind and I'm telling my wife, I said, "Look at that! Look at that! Look how cool that is!
Look how awesome
it is! I mean, look at that!
Yeah,
it's just amazing to me. I want to talk about that, but what we do, we're going to take a break. We always take a break about 20 minutes in and do a sponsor spotlight. And because Aaron with Artemis was on one of your trips with you this weekend, we're going to talk about Artemis for just a minute. So we'll be right back with our sponsor spotlight. It's now time for the sponsor spotlight, talking about all the products, services, events, and businesses that we use and love. Here we go. Now, we thought that Aaron would be able to be on here with us, and he's not. He's with us in spirit. He didn't die, but he's with us in spirit. Had a big day today. Did a lot of work. I don't know if you saw it, but he did a lot of work on a brand new Land Rover Defender. So they put a rack on it, a winch on it, a ladder on it, and they did a lot of stuff. So I know he's probably getting his back rubbed by his wife or something like that, because he's probably hurting because he's really old. So he wasn't able to be with us tonight, but I'm going to take a minute and show you a little video that we put together, spotlighting Artemis. Check this out. World changes daily around us. Change is inevitable. It's coming. Many things in life change, but some things do not. They're a rock, a constant, dependable, reliable, and safe. Artemis was founded upon a single idea: experiencing adventure and life outdoors with friends is a life well lived. We're here to provide your needs, to be a good environment for our employees, and to give back to our own community. We don't say this just to hear ourselves talk or because it sounds good. It's our vision since day one. Our mission will never change, but our showroom, our website, what we offer to you will always be evolving to reflect who we are and always will be. Overlanders who are committed to serving overlanders, being the best, bringing you the best reliability, service, gear, and friendship. The world may change around us, but we will not, as living this life alongside you as family can never be replaced. Aaron's always been very good to us. He's always sponsored just about everything that I've ever done. Super good friend. If you are ever in the Springfield area, please drop by Artemis Overland Hardware and visit Aaron there at Artemis. It was the first brick and mortar overland building showroom dealer I had ever been in, and I think back then his showroom was like 250 square feet. It was so small. He had like 3 tents set up in there and a little bit of camping gear, and I think I stayed for 5 hours because I was just like, man, all this stuff I've seen on the internet, I actually get to touch it, and it works. And I was like, man, I told my wife, I said, I got to go home and work some overtime because we got a lot of stuff to buy. So if you're ever up there, his showroom is like 10 times what it used to be, and he's got it set up really nice, and I know that because I helped him do it. And so anyway, Aaron's always been good. So Artemis Overland Hardware, we thank you. Thank you for sponsoring us. Now, Jason, I know you've got some sponsors. Would you like to mention them real quick and give them a shout out while you're here?
Yeah, I think the one that we want to hit and put the most focus on is a team of mechanics and creative and business savvy people that have been in the industry since 1979, and just a fantastic family and, like I said, team to work with at OK Four Wheel Drive. They've been a huge part of my, career developing Mountain State Overland. And, I'm also fortunate enough now to be working full time for them as their e-commerce manager. And it's
cool.
just absolutely fantastic. I'll never forget the first time I met Jim and Ren at Taylor Ranch at one of the first Overland Expos here on the East. And, I put a lot of energy into a media kit and packaged it up real nice and wrapped it up almost like a present, and walked it over to him. I think it was just pissing the rain, and walked it over to Jim, and I told him who we were, and I'd like to work with him. And he took the information, said, get back to me. We had a phone call and said, let's see where you go, and then stay in touch. And it's just a really fun story beyond that. But I guess 8 years or 7 years of working together was probably the longest job interview I've ever had. But not too many people can say that they've interviewed with their boss and the company that they're going to work for 7 years and really make a good decision to move into a position like that that I have now, and working with those people. It's just fantastic. And you talk about walking in a store and wanting to hang around for 5 hours because you're all around all this equipment. It's a fantastic shop up there, and they're growing, and just about everything that you want to see on the internet that you've seen on social media is sitting on the floor there. It's pretty fantastic.
Awesome.
So,
And where are they located at?
them.
Because for years I thought they were in Oklahoma because of the OK, but they're not in Oklahoma. So don't think that. Where are they located?
They're in Stewartsville, New Jersey. And just across the border from Easton, Pennsylvania. It's complete farmland and some rolling hills, actually really close to the Appalachian Trail. I believe that rolls along one of the ridges in the distance to the west of them, away from the hustle and bustle of New York City, but close enough to New York City where those people can come in and have a good time and stay there for the weekend. But yeah, from Lewisburg, West Virginia, where I live, it's about a 6-hour drive, and you can knock it out pretty quick, and it's worth every minute of it when you get there.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, when a lot of us think of New Jersey, we just think of high rises and big cities, but there is some farmland out there. There is some a little bit of place where you can get away from everybody, and that's where they're located. So I don't know why I thought they were in Oklahoma. I guess it was the OK, but don't know how they got their name. But it kind of threw me when I finally found out they're in New Jersey. What? In fact, I had funny story. I had planned to drive to Oklahoma City to go to their shop one day, and I put it in my MapQuest to look, and it said, "Oh, you're like 27 hours away," and I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I feel dumb." Yeah,
yeah, they get people from all over, man. It's pretty spectacular, and I definitely don't want to leave anybody out. I mean, some brands that have been really integral in our development, Blue Ridge Overland Gear, always supporting us and supporting our guided trips. We give our guests, we call it a discovery kit when they join us. It's usually a packing cube or something like that from Blue Ridge. Aaron was awesome on our trip. Just being a part of us and being a part of the adventure with us. Tow your tires, Goose Gear is a big one, and cool equipment too. So cool clothing has been very, very big part of our team. And I think I can see a Midland, maybe that's a 275 behind you. So yeah, Midland's been a big part of our adventures. In fact, I think we may have been one of the first to really kind of embrace GMRS mobile radios, actually mobile station radios in our trucks. I think a lot of people were still relying on CBs and ham radios at that point, but yeah, I mean, the list just goes on to AluCab, to Red Arc, and just some other fantastic people. But it's just been a lot of fun.
That's cool. Very cool. Well, I want to talk since you mentioned OK Four Wheel Drive. They work actually with Artemis as their AluCab provider, and I have visited with Aaron several times about this is my dream tent. Okay, I've had a lot of tents on top of the FJ, but the Alucab is like it's like moving to the house on the hill with the little white picket fence. I mean, it's the ultimate in getting up there and quick setups, and you could drop it from a crane from 30 stories and wouldn't put a dent in it. I mean, they're just unbelievable. And so I know you talked about OK four-wheel drive, and they provide the Alucab. So tell us how this canopy camper that is on the back of your Tacoma, how has that made your life so much easier in all your travels? Because I know it has.
There's so many things I could share. You know, we started off with a Kaya camper, which is a slide-in version of that. And we got the shell model, which is significantly cheaper than the outfitted models, but it was fantastic because I could take it in and out of the truck in 15 minutes. And then we totaled that truck. Somebody, two young girls texting on their cell phones, totaled my truck and cracked the frame on the back, and so kind of put us in a position to build a new truck, which we're seeing right here. And I remember talking to Ren about it, and you know, because the Kaya camper was paid for, it was taken care of, and I just loved having a pickup when I needed to. But he was like, "We sell that thing, man. We gotta put a canopy camper on the back of the truck," and that's what you saw in the picture was a Alucab canopy camper. So I mean, the question was, how has it made my life easier or my
well? I've got
better,
a picture of how it makes your life easier.
Okay, there you go.
That is like that's like a dream house with an upstairs. I mean, it's just so cool.
Yeah, you can see I actually use my equipment because there's dents in the refrigerator and scuff marks and things. You know, it's not it's clean when it needs to be, but we just throw camera equipment in it. You know, Ingle's been great for us too, but you know, this here is, you know, a sample of really all of the great things that have come out from creating the Alucab canopy camper. Is all of these companies are coming together and innovating solutions like Goose Gear and GP Factor Table and the Molly panels up here by GP. Outer Limit Supply and their first aid kits have fun little quick disconnects that you can mount your speakers and other Pelican cases to. And, you know, then you got the furnace, right? So, I mean, you're taking an opportunity to, you know, integrate all of these cool pieces in what is essentially just an aluminum shell. And so it's really prompted the industry. As we well know, the industry is all about designing equipment that makes the experience that much better. And honestly, I think the one thing I can talk to the most is always like seeing late to the party. I thought I was going to say let's party, but we can do that too. The one thing that I talk to people about is the speed at which you can set up camp and get to camping, right? So it's literally like 15 seconds to get out of your driver's seat, close your door, step on the tailgate, or I'm sorry, no tailgate, step on the back step or a step that you may have, pull 2 pins, pop open the latches and push it up, and then it rises and camp is set up. You know, if you want to throw out the awning, you know, a zipper, 3 Velcro straps, and then, you know, 5 seconds later, you've got 270 degrees of shade. So usually the first thing I do is I open the back door, turn on my Bluetooth speaker, and then I've got music to keep myself entertained for the minute and a half it takes me to set up camp.
Yeah.
But just fantastic. I think the winning recipe here is that you actually have a door that opens that you can climb into, as opposed to dropping a tailgate, hopping on the tailgate, ducking down, climbing in. Like it's a very fluid process walking in and out of the truck. And you know, like I said, you know, with all of these things that people are innovating, all of these products and accessories that people are innovating for this, it's just making that camping experience so much better and so much more comfortable 4 seasons out of the year.
Well, I was we were talking before the show about the this video that you put out about camping in the snow, and I mean, it was just like you described right then. I mean, you got out, you opened up the back, you popped the top up, you turned on the dimmer box, you turned on some Vagabonds,
Yeah.
you know, and you introduced me to their music. And when I watch your videos, I was like, you have the coolest music of anybody that's on YouTube, and
Thank
it's
you.
all the
Yeah.
same band. It's all the same band. And so you
Yeah.
introduced
Yeah.
me to a whole new band by that, because they got great music.
Well, we got to give a shout out to Ronnie here. He's actually been to Adventure X Fest, and he heard the Vagabonds play. So thanks for chiming in there, Ronnie. You know, people have their own opinions of the music that they like to see. They have their own opinions of the videos that they like to watch. And thanks for coming to the Capitol last weekend. Jim, yeah, just fantastic. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. It's on the list.
so it's yeah, I mean, people are going to have opinions, and I think that's what really is nice about YouTube is that people can kind of share, their thoughts. But as we all know, that people that produce music, and or produce videos for YouTube have a challenge with, getting licenses to use music, and the Vagabonds have just been absolutely fantastic to us, over the last 5 or more years, I guess, since we were up in Maine exploring. We featured them at the Adventure X Fest the last 2 years, a little local, kind of adventure overland rally that we have here close to town. I don't know if they're going to be coming back this year, but it's just really been great to work with them, over the years.
That's cool. Well, while we're talking about your rig and stuff like that, a lot of people are always asking us, these people that do YouTube, what is some of your favorite gear while you traveling? Your sleeping gear, your cooking gear. What are some of the things you never leave home without?
My speaker,
The dimmer box.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gotta have to.
that's always my go-to. There's so much stuff that just lives in the truck. We park the truck in the garage when we're not, using it as strictly an overland vehicle. I mean,
you use the MadCon a lot, I've noticed lately.
yeah, I saw we dedicated ourselves this whole entire past year to using the MadCon and stepping away from the Scottle. A couple reasons why. Jerry is fantastic. We have one of the first 10 Scottles ever made. Actually, me and Jamie and Jeremy here in Lewisburg. So we've got 3 of the first 10 Scottles made. I think when they were maybe like $99.
Yeah.
But we just got to the position where it was always putting this thing somewhere that it just never fit, because everything that is overlanding is, I feel like, is square, flat, or rectangular with edges. And so I was always kind of throwing this thing around and never was able to really find a home for it with that fit. And it was just kind of, always in the way. And the good thing about the Scottle was, you can cook everything on it. You don't need to carry a bunch of stuff. But, we just said, MadCon started selling in the States. OK Four-Wheel Drive's distributing the MadCon, the Bri here in the States. And we're like, well, it crosses off 2 things for us. It's our fire pit and it's our cooking service. And it flat packs in seconds. It's not something that you have to take apart, put together, whatever. You basically flip it over. We can dump our coals straight into a trash bag, so that we're keeping it, we're leaving no trace. And then this thing will flat pack in seconds and then just zips right up. And it's flat and it's rectangular. So it's fantastic. And it's really been, kind of an opportunity for me to kind of connect back to scouting and things like that from when I was a kid. And it makes it a little more fun to cook because you're cooking on fire. We've actually now invested in a Dutch oven. We're probably going to have, a cooking triangle before too long, or a cooking tripod. So we're going to try to focus more on, kind of like the true cooking on fire, just because it's a little more entertaining, and we've got more time because it doesn't take as long to set our trucks up. So,
Yeah.
that it all complements each other. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I
so
have a
go ahead.
Go ahead.
As I say, MadCon is something I don't leave home without. I'd have to say, amongst all the equipment, speaker, MadCon, and I'm probably going to go with, communications, right? Not necessarily the Midland radio. We rely on that very heavily, but I rely on satellite technology to communicate with my family because my son's growing up. There's all sorts of important and fun things that he's doing, and I want to stay in touch with my family. So, my inReach and my Overlander or some sort of navigation really helps us out to have a seamless experience when we're driving down the road.
Yeah. Love it. The great things, and all three I have and never leave without. Always have a speaker because I like tunes. I have a MadCon. I actually cook on my Dutch oven on the MadCon a lot because there are very few fire pits out there that the rack will hold a Dutch oven, and the MadCon is built so good that rack will hold a Dutch oven. And I absolutely love it. And I love how small it packs. I mean, I keep it in the FJ, and I've got one of the smallest vehicles out there, and it's amazing. I absolutely love it. So
definitely throw a chainsaw in there too.
Yeah,
definitely
chainsaw. Yeah, if you're going on the Transamerica Trail, I have definitely noticed in all the videos that I've seen, you definitely want to have a chainsaw. So Porker says, Jason, these two clowns, he's talking about me and Tony, will be here towards the end of the month. Maybe we could go out for a day. Yeah,
so this is your buddy here that's going to be
that's him
in Summersville. Yeah.
Cool. That's where he lives, and that's where we're headed. So I've been out there 4 or 5 times, and he actually has a business where he installs lighting on emergency vehicles. They do fire trucks, police cars, and all that. So what I did, I took advantage of our friendship, and I went out there and took a whole boatload of lights, and they installed all my lights for me because wiring is not something that I do well. And in fact, they actually banned me from using all electrical tape now for the remainder of my life. And so went out there and did that, and ended up going back, and me taking my vehicle out there and him seeing it and seeing all the stuff that I had done to it and the build and all that kind of made him get interested in it. And the last time that we went out there, I actually was able to take him out, and we actually went up some trails around Somerville to do some drone footage and things like that. And, he looked at me and he said, this takes me back to camping with my dad. This takes me back to reliving some of my childhood memories. He said, I love this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a few months down the road that he bought a 4Runner for his wife, and they started doing some off-road trails. And he said, man, I've lived here my whole life, and I'm seeing part of West Virginia that I've never seen before. And then he ended up buying a Tacoma, and now he has just went absolutely friggin' nuts buying all this stuff for this Tacoma. So his Tacoma, I mean, he's went from buying a brand new truck to having it outfitted and in the Rhino Rack booth at More Expo in April. And he's just so freaking pumped, and we're so excited to go out there. So pretty
awesome.
Cool. Pretty cool.
Very cool, yeah.
One Man Trail is a good one to watch for Tat. Chad said, I may have missed it. Is he videoing the trip on the Transamerica Trail? Yes. We have several videos that he has made for the Transamerica Trail, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But I want you to talk about for just a minute some of your recent posts on Instagram have been to raise awareness for your state. Tell us about what you've been involved with.
Well, over the last 8 or 9 years, I've been part of the the cause was to show people there's somewhere else to go besides out west. And exploring out west is fantastic, but not a lot of people can break away for a full weekend here on the East Coast, or a full 2 weeks rather, make their way out west. So I've always been dedicated to kind of showcasing West Virginia as an outdoor, opportunity, or an outdoor adventure opportunity from, my time, whitewater canoeing, now whitewater rafting, mountain biking, backpacking, things like that. Just been a fantastic and a big part of my life, just growing up just across the border, and coming to Virginia is where I grew up. But so I've always been an advocate of, everything, West Virginia, because it is a gem. It's a hidden gem, and it seems like no matter how hard I've worked over the years, the growth hasn't really taken off, and I'm okay with that because I like getting out and exploring, but
not being crowded.
I also find extreme value in people discovering the state, in that same capacity as well, which I'm a huge advocate of people, getting the tools that they need to go explore and map their own roads and stuff like that, because that was the biggest part of my experience, and I would hate to take that away from somebody else. Yeah. But so last year I was invited by the West Virginia Off-Highway Vehicle Coalition to come to what was coined as the and Mark and Jerry, if they're watching this, Senator Mark Menard and Jerry Bain with the West Virginia Off-Highway Vehicle Coalition would get a kick out of this. The first year they had it, they called it the West Virginia like Jeep Capital Invasion. So that was like 45 days after what happened January 6th, and I was like, maybe we should call it something different. But it was a huge turnout. Due to COVID, they weren't actually allowing people to go in the Capitol building. The plan was to go in and lobby, talk to members of the state legislature, and talk about who we are, who the clubs are. This year rolled around, a little bit more planning went into it, created an opportunity for us to actually set up exhibits in the hallway to the Senate chamber, right? So we were basically, while the Senate was in session, we were in the galley or the hallway, set up. American Motorcycle Association, Tread Lightly, Mountain State Overland, West Virginia Off-Highway Vehicle Coalition, Southern Four-Wheel Drive, ROVA, and some other fantastic people too. And as these members of Senate are coming in and out of their chamber, they're stopping and talking to us. It was great networking. They introduced us on the Senate floor, each of us, and then after that was over, they brought us into the governor's cabinet office, which is like right beside the governor's office. And we had director of the DNR, Department of Natural Resources. We had the Secretary of Tourism. We had, I can't remember his title, but he's basically in charge of all digital recording of roads in the state of West Virginia. So very, very important. We had several members of the State Forest Department with us, and the governor's chief of staff was in there. So this group of people that we had set up as exhibitors, we went into the cabinet office and each took part in like a 5 to 10 minute presentation for these people, and had discussions about adventure travel and adventure tourism, and how that the jeeping opportunity complements the side-by-side opportunities, complements the overland and adventure travel opportunities, and how that all supports everything tourism that's happening in West Virginia right now. So some big people, some big players, and it was just a fantastic opportunity to bring adventure travel to the forefront in a state that is in its infancy. Side-by-sides can travel in the state with a license plate, I think maybe 25 miles or so on pavement on painted line, and then they have to get off pavement and drive gravel roads. But you can essentially circumnavigate and drive in between upside down and around West Virginia on the side-by-side now, which is kind of opening up more opportunities. But there were several missions to it. The awareness for keeping roads open, creating systems for As we approach gates, there's I think it's called the SWAT program. I could provide some details maybe after our podcast here, but the state's actually built a reporting system where you can actually report a gate closure on a public road, because of what a lot of people have done in the past is thrown up gates across their property, even though there's a designated right-of-way or a public road through that property. So, you don't have to deal with the discomfort of approaching some random house in the middle of the woods. You can go back and you can report it to the SWAT program, and they'll investigate and then put that out in forum for people to discuss. So there's all sorts of fun things happening. The big thing was awareness. The public came in on Saturday. We had the truck set up, and then we took a trail ride. And then after that was over, we camped with, several of the people that were there, and just a fantastic opportunity. And that's my political gig for the year, and I look forward to that.
You running for office now?
I look forward to that. Look forward to that every year, and making these connections, and just empowering people to get excited about it. And there's 2 or 3 or 4 or more members of West Virginia State Legislature that are really passionate about all of the things we talked about, side by side, exploring via vehicle or not, on foot, rafting, whatever. So it kind of speaks to everybody in this state, and I think we've really got a huge opportunity ahead of us.
Yeah,
I think that's so awesome. Cool. Tony and I are headed out there in about 3 weeks, and Tony's never been. And West Virginia is not really on a lot of people's radar as far as an overlanding off-road destination. In fact, it wasn't even on mine until I went out there to visit friends, and then I was exposed to it. And there's so much out there. There's not a flat road in the state. There's not a straight road in the state. And it's beautiful. There's mountains everywhere. It's just absolutely beautiful. And when a lot of people talk about where they want to go, most of the time it's out west, but a lot of people don't consider out east.
I've heard so many people say that West Virginia and Wyoming is among some of their favorite places to go. And neither one of those, up until about 6 months ago, neither one of those were high on my list. They were still on the list, but.
And now you're going to both of them.
Now I'm going to both of them this year.
I think that's the thing about it. We were talking about roads and how I value people going through kind of a similar experience that I did. But I mean, it's America. People want it, and they want it now. I can understand that, respect that. People want to know where to go. I think if we approach it a little bit differently and create a system, a digital system, through the state that can be shared through, your guys or your on X's and stuff like that, where people can tap into these networks, these digital networks, and actually plan their routes and just go and drive. Then it gets really exciting when you see a gravel road. It gets really exciting when you have to put it in 4-wheel drive. And we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Well, I want to talk about your latest video series that you're putting out. We want to talk about the Hammer Down, but we want to take just a little bit of break, get us a little drink, cool off our vocal cords, and get ready for round number 3. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Barry Henderson with Turtleback Trailers.
I'm Adam with Okie Overland.
This is John with Long Creek Overland.
I'm Drew with Rock Squash Design. I'm Casey with US Action Tracks.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Misty from The Day We Were Made.
I'm Jeremiah from Overland Pioneer.
Hi, we're Jessica and Jorge, the Limerick Wonder.
It's Chris from More Expo.
I'm Misty from Lady Overlander Radio.
You're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
You're watching.
You're watching.
And watching Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Joey the Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
To the Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Sponsored by Artemis Overland Hardware. More Expo, April 8th through the 10th, 2022 in Springfield, Missouri. Tack Farm, Blue Sail Coffee Roasters, Linson Solar, Howling Moon Tents and Awnings, Big Iron Overland Rally, June 10th through the 12th, Mountain Hatch, Lifesaver Water Filters, MC Ranch Overland, Snowmaster Frigid, Eco Flow, Timbo Tuss Scottles, Dial Dynamics Lighting, and our good friends at Midland Radio. Thank you for joining us. We're glad that you're here. No pros, just bros on this show. Here we go. No pros, just bros.
That cracks me up.
That's how we roll.
I wish I could figure out what you were saying in that one spot where you're talking backwards.
Well, I was talking with 80 never looked so good. He's got an 80 series Land Cruiser, and it's like the most beautiful Land Cruiser I've ever seen. And he's out of Tulsa, and I was like, man, I need you to do an intro to my show. And he's like, And I'm like, man, you're like a Sasquatch. You can't even talk right. So when I did it, I was doing it for him, and I was like, man, talking backwards people like what he does. Anyway, I was making fun of him.
It cracks me up every time.
I hope I hurt his feelings because he wouldn't help me out. But anyway, we're good buddies. We go way back. So Jason, I just want you to know I totally loved watching this Trans-America Trail Hammer Down series that you did, and in the middle of, I guess, are there any more that are coming out in this series? Or I thought there was. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, I took a break to go to the Capitol this weekend and kind of promote, what all of us do. But we're starting back up again on Friday, and got a few more episodes left. Let's just say it's going to get a little more serious and a little more off road and a little more relative to where you guys live. So
I did notice in the last one, you spent a lot of time at a really cool place that you said you found on Hip Camp, Fisher's Off Road. Seemed like an amazing, really cool place. Tell us about your time there, because that seemed to be one of the highlights where you were at.
Yeah. So real quick, Eric, a friend of ours, runs Mountain Made Off Road. It's a side-by-side kind of accessory installer builder, around the Charleston area. And I saw him right away when I first got to the Capitol this weekend. And I said, you'll never guess who I met when I was in Arkansas. Actually, while I was in Middle Tennessee, I camped at Brian Fisher's house with Fisher's Off Road, and he was like you, Brian Fisher? And at the time I didn't even know who the guy was. So to give you a little bit of backstory, we spend a lot of time finding private places to go camping because honestly, it's the best experience. Because you've got to, you're helping people out and you're helping the economy out. And so we were kind of looking for a place to kind of start once we got off the highway. Weren't planning on going, riding around on side-by-sides by any means, but found this awesome place on Hip Camp in Middle Tennessee. And I said, guys, this is perfect for, closing down our highway section right before we started the Trans-America Trail. Sent them some pictures, and they were like, yeah, it looks great. Contacted him. I said, hey, he says you only got one campsite. We've got like 3 trucks and a trailer. We're pulling in here. This is who we are. They looked us up and they said, send it, bring it, come down. We used to have a TV show. We'd love to have you here. I'm sure we can collaborate and make some video out of it. So I was like, well, I'm going to make some video out of it. So absolutely, let's do it.
Whether you do or not, I am.
So I went back and looked up Brian Fisher and Fisher's ATV World, I think is what it was called. It was on Outdoor Channel, maybe on Discovery at one point in time and something like that. But it was a reality kind of YouTube show, YouTube-esque type show that was on cable TV before YouTube was really hitting it big. And so as I called him back and I started talking to him some more, and I said, if we get there, at dusk or before dusk, what do you think the opportunities of, maybe getting on some side-by-sides and you touring us around? And they said, yes, absolutely. So that was our objective. We went there, fantastic campsite. They built it to Hip Camp, and they've had a lot of people stay there. I think we were the first kind of overlanders to stay there. But, I highly recommend Fisher's Off-Road for camping. If you're going to be in that area, it's such a gem. There's so many gravel roads, so many dirt roads, so many creek crossings and river crossings and 4-wheel drive opportunities in that area. I had no idea existed, especially after driving from, eastern Tennessee all the way to middle Tennessee on the Trans-America Trail. It was very uneventful, but when we hit that there, it was very refreshing. So.
Yeah, it looked like a really cool place. Some of the best showers I think I've seen in any hip cup place. They were just so cool.
Oh yeah. If you've ever stayed at of course we've all probably taken a shower in some capacity outside, but
it's the best shower. It is the best. Outside showers are the best. I don't care what anybody says.
It was 95 degrees. We decided we were going to do the Hammer Down, which is our Trans-America series. We decided we were going to do Hammer Down in August. So we'd be traveling through Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, and Arkansas in August, which is absolutely the worst time to be in the woods in those areas or any further south. But we landed at Fisher's Off-Road after driving down the highway, 95 degrees, 95 plus, 97 maybe. Did our UTV thing, had a couple beers, and then we all independently took showers and stuff, and it rained on us the whole time. So we're outdoor shower. It's raining outside, like 85 degrees. It was like the shit. Absolutely.
Well, you highlighted those. The showers were so good that you actually took time in your video to go inside the shower and show people the showers. That's how good they were. And so I just want to make sure you watch this video and you wait to see the showers because they were phenomenal. It made me look up the place on HipCamp and mark it and say, I've got to go here. That's how good they were. So
on the way to West Virginia for us.
No, we're going through Kentucky.
Oh, you're going to go. Yeah, you're going through Kentucky.
We're going to go up a little bit north. Yeah.
Yeah. I do not travel on Interstate 40 at all. No, I don't go through Memphis. I don't go through Nashville. I avoid it like the plague. So we actually go out of our way and go through Kentucky. So we won't be going through there, but that I will be going through there one day, and that is a cool spot.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah. And the lake that you camped on right after that was beautiful spot.
Dude, we hit. So what was that? Pickwick Reservoir, Pickwick Lake. I don't have the stats in front of me. How many miles of shoreline is backed up, behind the locks and the dam at the Pickwick Dam there. We had a lot of history on it. Sometimes when you try to script out what you want to say on video, it just never goes as planned. Yeah. So we kind of threw all of that out the window and go typical MSO fashion and just wing it. And we got there after leaving Brian's place. We spent a little bit of time on the Nez Pierce. Is that right? Is that a scenic highway or scenic byway? I could be way off. It might be. Oh, it's a Nez Trace or something like that. I don't know.
Natchez Trace. The
Natchez Trace. Yeah. Nez Pierce is over in Idaho, I think. Anyway, so we spent a little bit of time on that, but it was pretty consistent gravel and dirt and mud all the way to Pickwick Landing and Pickwick Lake. And we landed at, might have been Brunton Landing. It was the middle of the week, so nobody was camping, or maybe I think it was a Sunday night. Nobody was camping. We get there, just epic sunset. And all of a sudden there were all these bugs flying around, and we're just like, oh God. We got gnats, where I grew up in Covington, Virginia, and they're just awful. And I'm thinking like, oh, we're gonna have to deal with mosquitoes. They weren't gnats or they weren't mosquitoes. We hit a mayfly hatch. And it was an act of, it was the most magnificent act of nature that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Watching, borderline millions of mayflies hatching from our bank and having them just flying around. They're not really even a nuisance. They don't bite. They don't bother you. All you do is just kind of hear them. And we did have mayflies, I think they lived like 24 hours or something like that. It was just so random. But, the fish, I swear the fish from the whole lake came over that bank and they were just hitting and flopping all night long. We went out there and went swimming, and it was you can't make that happen, right? I mean, those are some of the fun things that happen when you pack your truck up and you don't have a plan and you just go somewhere. That stuff happens for you. So I'm glad we were able to capture that on video because it was fantastic. And I'm sure my son will like watching that one day.
It was epic when you showed the mayflies and the fish hitting the top of the water. I mean, the sunset, everything. I mean, it just all came together in a great video. I really enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, we would not have been able to make that trip happen through those areas in August without water. Everywhere that we stopped, the camp had a water opportunity for us to bathe and swim in. And I don't know what your next question is, but if we talk Arkansas water in the Ozarks, I mean, wow. When I first saw that cloudy blue water, I had kind of some different thoughts in mind until I realized, how mineral rich that water is and just how fantastic and how healthy that its ecosystems are, that populate that water. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
it is. And you went actually during low water time. Right now is actually high water time. And when you went during low water time, it's that much or more throughout the year. So it's just beautiful up here. We're really blessed. We're like you. We're kind of in a catch-22. We want people to know how beautiful our state is, but we only want a few people to come at a time. Because we don't want a whole bunch of people here. I mean, when COVID hit, it was almost like Red Dawn. Everybody flew to the hills, and we couldn't find a camping spot anywhere. And it's been that way for 2 years now. And so it's, we have very blessed with a beautiful state.
I think there's some audio trending on Instagram, something about that, talking about how pretty it is, and the guy says, I don't know, he says something like, "Do I wish you were here?" F no. He wanted to share the experience, but he didn't want it crowded with people.
Yeah, that's true. And I know that you made your way into Arkansas. You picked up Aaron from Artemis in his Land Rover. Aaron is so fun to travel with. He's such a neat guy to be around and camp with, and so easygoing. And but that old Land Rover he's got is on its last leg. Did y'all have to wait on him a lot? I'm just gonna have to give him a hard time about it.
A little bit. I think he had to wait on us just as much. Got stuck in a couple mud holes and things like that.
Saw that on the previews.
John Rutherford from Rocco Vehicles up in Massachusetts, he'd spent a lot of time on pavement, in upwards of 27 hours to get there for various reasons, and was very excited to hit the trail literally. Aaron was fantastic. We couldn't have been able to do it without him. He was a huge hit. He's a very passionate fan of Mountain State Overland, which is always fun, to be a part of an adventure like that with somebody that's kind of watched all of us. And, anybody that meets us in person knows we're exactly the same way we are on camera as we are in person. That's very important to me. And I hold my guys accountable to that. And they just get more fun and more animated the more they do it. Aaron was a great asset to the team. We, like I said, left Middle Tennessee, made our way into skimmed over Alabama, and then we ended up in Mississippi for a little bit, had a pretty fun hill climb there in Mississippi. The most of it's just kind of flat, red dirt roads.
Yeah.
Stopped in Redneck Sand, Arkansas, just outside of Mississippi, and went through Levon Helms. If you guys are, fan of the band and know Levon Helms, we stopped in a town at a liquor store to pick up some booze, and ended up being Levon Helms' birthplace, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Some of the guys on the team didn't know who he was, and I gave him a pretty hard time about that. But from there we kind of made our way into Arkansas. It's just all kind of running a blur. It's almost like I have to, going through in the editing process, this far from the trip is always fun for me because I get to re-experience, that adventure, and it kind of gets me more excited about really what I want to show. We ended up at the OARC Cafe. We were just going to, we had the plan on spending some time in the Ozarks and going 4-wheel and doing that type of thing. But after you spend so much time on the Trans-America Trail, all you want to do is see more Trans-America Trail. But we had a big discussion on that on the radio, and we said, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to travel the Trans-America Trail, or are we trying to experience the country using the Trans-America Trail? And I'll never forget when our photographer, Photog John, said that, and I said, all right, we're going to spend some time here and have a good time. Thanks. So, spent a couple days there with Aaron, exploring, sending John home a little bit early, and then made our way back and stopped in Nashville on a Saturday night after spending, 7 or 10 days in the woods with nobody other than the 4 or 5 guys that we've been camping with, going basically into the lion's den there. It's
Saturday night. It's not busy.
East Coast Las Vegas, man. It was
oh my God.
We had a pretty good time there, and I wanted to hit a honky tonk bar or two, and we did that.
There is one or two there.
We did that.
Yeah, that's actually my wife's son is there right now, and he sends us pictures of Main Street or downtown Nashville about 2 or 3 times a day, and I'm like, oh, he's going to get arrested. I just feel it.
It's crazy.
I just feel it because it's so much fun, but there's just one right after another, after another, after another, after another. You can get lost and you can hit them all, but that's a really neat town, Nashville. But really glad you got to experience OARC. That's one of our favorite places in the whole world. That seems to be the hub for the Ozarks, where we have our rendezvous every fall, and so many good trails around there. So many good trails. So what can we expect coming up that we haven't seen yet on your videos without giving too much away?
I think I shared enough of it already. I think just kind of an idea of where we're going to be. Like I said, we focus really hard on, capturing, good quality content that's visually appealing. So you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see some 4-wheel drive action. We spent some time with the owner there at OARC, and going back through all of our footage. That's the challenge with filming, is that making sure everything's dialed in where it needs to be, and you check in to make sure your cards are, not full and your mics are on. And so we had some hiccups there. We lost that kind of interview opportunity with him, but so be it. Go there yourself and experience it. So that's kind of what it's all about. But we got some hooping and hollering, and it's kind of with the way we lead into our series with the Vagabonds, and you're going to see more of that.
Awesome. Well, I went up and spent some time with Aaron right after he got back from your trip, and I mean, he just had a big smile on his face. And one thing that he was very adamant about was that these guys are in person just like they are on their videos, and to me, that is huge to me, because you're not trying to be somebody that you're not, and you can tell on your videos from the goofy intro where he pulls up there and he does it 4 or 5 times because he can't get it right. He can't stop in the right spot, or I mean, that's perfect. I mean, you're just showing who you are, and you show going out on the side by sides but then you go from that to the the most epic sunset in the world, and sitting around the campfire and doing an interview. It's very entertaining, educational. You're showing a lot about the Trans-America Trail, which I really love. Even the boring parts are good. When you're going down through all the bean fields, it's still beautiful. It's still a beautiful.
I mean,
area.
honestly, that section was probably like the best section. So we may have made that the best section of that day because it was just like it. Some of the Trans-American Trail is like literally driving through neighborhoods on paved roads. And Sam, who is the curator of the Trans-American Trail, I mean, the amount of energy that goes into, maintaining that trail, taking feedback from people, building it initially is unfathomable. And so I'm not going to place blame on him for that. It's the reality of living in America. I mean, it's paved, in some parts, and you're going to need to take pavement to get to places. But I remember that day specifically, and I remember when I was editing that, I'm like, well, I don't really have it. We tried to talk a lot to the GoPros in there, and and it's just like, let's just turn on some music and show some awesome footage because that puts me back in the space where we were then, like, oh my God, like this is beautiful now. Like let's film this and let's show people this. Some people want to see, every inch of trail or a road system or a route. And I'm sure there's probably YouTube channels that you can go and watch somebody running a dash cam and driving the whole Trans-American Trail. But, it may not be too exciting. So, our shows are just out there to just get people excited about exploring and get you ready for the spring when it's warming up like it is, so you can get out there and do it on your own.
Yeah.
Well, I think you found your niche. You tell your story, you show where you go, you stop at little places to eat, and you tell everybody this is how you pronounce it if you want them to know you're from here, or if you're not from here. That was a cool spot. Good food. You show where you eat, you show what you get to eat. It's just your life, and you're putting.
And that's the thing there too. I mean, you want to cook out. We want to cook at the fire and that type of stuff. But I mean, honestly, you're going to be in a region or area of the U.S. that has real good barbecue. Like you're just making a bad decision to cook a Mountain House or a bean burrito on your scuttle. So,
and you show shopping for groceries, and that's one of the things that I have discovered throughout my life in travels is that when you travel to different places and you go shop for groceries, you may discover food that you have never seen before. And I discovered that in West Virginia the first time I went, and they told me about ramps. And I was like, where have these been all my life? And they, and now I'm going to introduce Tony to ramps here in about 3 weeks. They may be small, pizza. But we're going to eat some anyway. Ramps and great pizza. And have you had great pizza out there where you live?
Oh yeah, we've got great pizza at Pies and Pints in Fayetteville.
Pies and Pints, that's where we get it. Yep. Pies and Pints, and we don't have that here. And I come back and I tell people, man, I had great pizza, and they're like, what? They put grapes on pizza? And I'm like, y'all have to travel more. You've got to get out more because there's food out there that you don't know existed that's amazing. And and I went to a little it's almost like an open air market there in Summersville, and they had yellow-eyed peas. And I called my mom, who is the most country person in the world, and I said, Mom, have you ever heard of yellow-eyed peas? She said, no, we grew up on pinto beans and black-eyed peas. What are yellow-eyed peas? And I sent her a picture of it, and she said, bring me some. I got to try some of those. And now I'm bringing back 10 pounds of yellow-eyed peas every time I go to West Virginia because you go and you discover food that you don't normally have. And like you said, if you go to a place that's known for barbecue, you're hurting yourself by not getting the local food. That's part of it, and that's the part that I love. I absolutely love it, especially like when you go to the OR Cafe. You got to eat at the OR Cafe.
Yeah, I wish we could have featured more of that content too. But like I said, it's one of those places you got to go and experience. But you are nailing it. This is what I talked about at the Capitol when we were, presenting to the governor's staff. Like, the biggest part of this, the biggest opportunity of this is, what sort of influence, these travelers have on local economies. We're landing in Durban, West Virginia, where, it's a deteriorating economy, fantastic outdoor opportunities, but, where there was once 3 gas stations, now there's 1. Where there was once 3 markets, now there's like 1 small market, and then there's 1 bar that's also the cafe, and that's it. So landing 7 trucks, 5 guest trucks, and our 2 guide vehicles, in there on a Saturday, filling up Land Cruisers and Tacomas and all these big tanks, and then going shopping and provisioning at the market. I mean, that's a good day for Durban, So let's make more good days of that in these local economies. Whether we're in West Virginia, Arkansas, or traveling across the country.
Yeah, true. West Virginia is not just about moonshine and ginseng. There's more to it there than what you've seen on the Discovery Channel. It's there's a lot out there to be seen, a lot to experience, and I can't wait till I get to take Tony out there and his wife. I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing.
I'm getting pumped. I can see you.
Yeah, I'm getting pumped too. Tony's been working on his trailer and his vehicle like mad for the last several weeks, so he could get ready to go out there. So
I'm going to go to Artemis this weekend because I need to get out and have some fun. It's been a lot of work lately the last few weeks, but feeling the pressure. We
got Rigs and Coffee this weekend. It's going to be fun, so can't wait to get up there. So if throw this out there, if you have a Saturday free, come to Artemis this weekend. We got Rigs and Coffee. Going to be a cool time up there. Would love to see everybody up there. Yeah. So, man, Jason, I appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome, just like I thought it would be.
Good. No, I appreciate it. I like I said, these are so much fun, and I love how people are getting so creative with the layout and the design and the total experience. The visual podcast. So I think it just makes it more animated for us to kind of share our true passion, and that translates into the audio experience for people listening to it on their phone or watching it on YouTube. So
exactly,
fantastic, guys.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate that. We are always excited to have guys like you on here that we have watched and learned from and follow, and we live vicariously through you quite a bit through the TV. So I want to encourage everybody out there to follow Mountain State Overland on Instagram, Facebook. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. Check out their video series. I promise you will be educated and entertained. They do a great job. You'll laugh. You'll see some really cool spots. Great places to eat, a little bit of everything. I promise you, it is cool. It is cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely.
You betcha. Well, hopefully we'll run into each other somewhere out there on the trail or somewhere. I know that you do. Tell us before we get out of here, are you going to be doing your festival that you do in the fall this year?
Had a lot of questions about that, and since I did it the first time, now this will be the 3rd time we do it, leading into the 2nd, and now the 3rd time. Both years, I'm never going to do it again, but I end up doing it again. It's a balance of expenses and making it make sense because there's a lot of time and a lot of energy. Without our volunteers, we can't make it happen. So. Yes, it's not posted out there yet. We do have a commitment to the city of Covington, where I grew up, which is right across the border into Virginia, to execute Adventure X Fest. And Adventure X Fest is a base camp music festival. That's it. You come and you camp and you listen to music, and then you go out and explore all of the gravel roads and trails in Allegheny County and the surrounding counties. We give you a topo map of the area, and we've highlighted, some of the routes that you can take. But people show up on Friday. We listen to music on Friday night, and then go out and explore on Saturday. Listen to music on Saturday night, and then we had a food truck last year. We had some vendors there last year. Mm-hmm. We had beer there. Yeah, as you guys know, the first piece of equipment that I use is my Bluetooth. So music is very important to me, and I think one of the biggest things that people miss out on when they put together these overland, type or adventure travel festivals is music. I think music is really important, and it brings in and keeps everybody entertained. So yeah, I appreciate the plug for that. You'll probably see some stuff coming out there then. April 30th here in Lewisburg, we're hosting a film tour at a local historic theater sponsored by Smooth Ambler Distillery and Greenbrier Valley Brewing. It'll be an evening of adventure films from the Paddling Film Fest World Tour. We're going to prototype that event and then possibly inject more sort of adventure films into that on a seasonal basis here in Lewisburg as well. So yeah.
Very cool.
Sounds like an East Coast Big Iron or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love that. Well, you have definitely got your hand in a whole bunch of stuff. You are a busy man.
Food truck was amazing, by the way, Ronnie. Food truck was freaking killer last year.
That Adventure X Fest was the very first thing that Ronnie Bent ever went to, and he sent me about 18,000 pictures. And I was like, man, that's so cool. I'd love to go to that.
Is that where he caught the bug, do you think?
That's where right before that's when he caught the bug. He didn't have much. He had a little tent and an awning was all he had back then. He's come along.
That's all you need.
So, yeah, that's so cool. Well, we've come about to the end of our show. Man, what a great show. Good information to put out there. I hope everybody goes to Mountain State Overland. Get you some swag, buy a bunch of stuff. Go to you're going to be at Expo West, Jason? Or
I'll be at just Expo Mountain West. Will be
Mountain West. Okay.
Mountain West in Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah, that's in August, and then Expo East be in the fall.
Yep,
so if you're out there, make sure you look him up.
Absolutely.
Well, next week we got some people coming on. Cotty Wampel Overland from Kentucky is going to be on, and we're excited about them. And we will be back on Tuesday again, 7 p.m.
Nice.
Yeah, excited about that. So until then, we hope you live the best life that you possibly could dream of. Get out there while you can, because you're never guaranteed time. Look out for number 1, and don't step in number 2. Y'all have a great day. Professor and Friends 2022. Woo-woo.
Thank you for watching.
Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends. Joey the Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.
Professor and Friends.